Ruckerman.
We are live. Sbtalksports and Sean Webb, Real Takes Over Fake Debates. It is Friday, sponsored by Swift Energy. Use code RTOFD to get 20% off your order every time you get an order. Sean, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Man, doing good, man. Might need Swift Energy tonight, man. Feeling good, but I'm feeling good though, man.
got man right in my cup right here. You got man right there, cup right there. Shout out Swift Energy, man.
Yeah.
How's your Friday going though? So far, it's cool.
Yeah, going all right, man. Just ready for game 2 tonight in this Timberwolves-Mavs series, and obviously we're gonna talk about that. But yeah, just looking forward to it. Should be a pretty good sports weekend, long Memorial Day weekend. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, my Friday's pretty good too. I want to ask you too, what you playing for Memorial Day? You go throw something on the grill, kick it with the fam. What you planning? What's the plan?
May throw a couple things on the grill. Not on Memorial Day, more likely tomorrow or Sunday. Yeah, I generally don't do that on Memorial Day. But yeah, nothing too crazy. It's a day off, at the end of the day. So yeah, how about you?
The Memorial Day, I gotta go in. I wasn't thinking at the point of time when it was asked of me. It was like, yeah, Shaq, you want to work Monday next week at the radio station in the morning? I'm like 9 to 3. I was like, oh yeah, I'll take the day. I'm just thinking ready to work. Yeah, I'll take the day. And I realized like, oh, it was the holiday. I got tricked into everybody else took call off at the station. I got tricked. So I got to work that morning, but it's a morning shift, so I ain't tripping. But the weekend when I get off from the station, I'm gonna go be with the fam. I ain't barbecuing this time, so I'm gonna get to enjoy some food and just chill and be with the fam. So that's all I'm getting. And watch some sports, obviously.
Yeah.
So that. I ain't got nothing else planned. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the show off back. Obviously, like you said, we got a lot of sports going on. But in the next 20, 30 minutes, the Timberwolves and the Mavericks will be going at it for game 2. Obviously, the Dallas Mavericks took game 1 with outstanding performances from Luka and Kyrie Irving. What was your reaction to game 1, and then what do you expect from game 2?
Really, really surprising. Not that the Mavs won, but so much how they won. Being able to dominate points in the paint the way they did. They did not shoot the ball well from outside, but it's just a reminder. 2018 Rockets, you don't have to jack up a bunch of threes to try to win a game. There's a thing on the court called the paint, and if you act right, you can score in there. But in all seriousness, it was a very, very good game for the Mavs. Obviously, not having home court advantage, you want to try to steal, one of the first games, on the other team's home floor, win game 1, you want to try to win game 2, because if you can go back to Dallas with a 2-game advantage, that certainly puts you in the driver's seat in the series. But and also, just the thing of, Dallas has been here before, meaning this is their second Western Conference Finals in 3 years. This is Minnesota's first Western Conference Finals in 20 years. As you go through each round, it is a different atmosphere. It does get a little more interesting. And how can you, emotionally and psychologically continue to get yourself up for each round, particularly after coming off a tough series like Minnesota did against Denver. So that's going to be key in game 2 is how they come out, their energy. They understand they don't want to go to Dallas down 0-2. But, but it is it ratchets up every round. And players talk about that all the time. So be interested to see how Minnesota comes out to start game 2.
For me, I was more shocked at the fact I wasn't shocked that like what the Mavericks did as a team, like inside out game. I feel like they got a lot of different characters. Well, the main two guys can work inside out. I was more shocked that the game was closer than I thought, and Minnesota was on tired legs from the series. So that kind of opened my eyes a little bit. Yeah, I acknowledge the experience of the Dallas Mavericks because that experience means a lot. But I think for that last series, so what Minnesota just went through with not because they defeat the popcorn, defeat the defending champs. It was because they went in a series where they won the 2 games on somebody else's home court. Then they lost 3 straight and had to lock back in and win 2 more back to back. Because when you a young team, you get that mindset of, oh, I'm up 2 games off your home court. Oh, it's gonna be easy work. If we'd probably get the defending champs about it, but it wasn't necessarily the case. So I think this young Timberwolves team has grown a lot. But also they do got guys that has been in the playoffs for a couple, like Rudy Gobert, especially the Mike Conleys. Mike Conley being the leader of that team, I think he can equalize the experience factor for those other teams because we can say Kyrie Irving and Luka has the experience, but we can't say that about PJ Washington. We can't say that about Lively. The other guys that they depend on. So I think it's gonna be a happy balance on that. From what I expect tonight, I expect the Timberwolves bounce back during tonight's game. I expect them to even up the series 1-1 because you do not want to give this Mavericks team a 2-0 up on you when you go into their home because what I think that the young experience would, I think they courage would be straight demoralized. Like this team too young to go down 2-0 and lose 2 at home. Like the Nuggets can do it because they defend the champs. They, got the camaraderie and they won. So they like, hey, look, we good. We don't want a championship. So that's the only thing I'll be worried about. But I expect Minnesota tonight to get the job done, tie the series up 1-1, going back into Dallas.
Yeah, and I wouldn't discount, the Mavs have other guys who've been there too. Derrick Jones Jr. has been in the conference finals, been in the NBA finals. Obviously, Tim Hardaway Jr. has been in the conference finals. So, they got some guys with some experience. Yeah. And obviously Jason Kidd has coached in the conference finals before, as well. So, I wouldn't I'll just say this. I think, it's really, really important to, give, Dallas probably the experience advantage. That said, Minnesota has to use the big advantage they have in this series, which is their size. They are bigger. But if you don't play bigger, it doesn't matter. Karl Anthony Towns shooting 9 threes in game 1 bails out PJ Washington and whoever else may be guarding him. So
he's the greatest shooting big man ever, though.
In his mind, I'm like Dirk never played in the NBA, but okay, whatever. And I think he's up there. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I think Dirk is the best. But that said, you got it. You have to. You can't just have size. You got to use it. And at the end of the day, maybe they will in game 2 try to use their size a little more to their advantage. And we see. I don't believe a must win in game 2, but I think it is as close to your point, a must win for Minnesota because again, you don't want to go back down to Dallas down 0-2. Those are very, very tough odds to overcome.
Yeah, because like I said, I think this team is too young. But I imagine they got enough good leaders, and they just seen the team before just do the same thing. But I don't think it'll be good for this team. I think this is a must win for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So while I'm pulling up this stuff right here, because I got to talk about this next story. Yes. Sean, I really want to understand. So we in this new era of basketball, right? Era of positionless basketball. Your position does not define your play style no more. Your skill set defines your play set now. So you go do what's best to your skill set. Like Jokic, he has the skill of a guard, but he's a center. We still go run an offense through him. Kyrie Irving, even though he's a point guard, but he has the ability to score, we're going to put you at the 2 guard. Draymond Green, rebound up, point forward. Steph Curry, we're going to run you off screens, even though you're a point guard. So we just in the era position like Wembanyama. He plays, he's a center, but he plays like a guard. So we kind of got a glimpse of it a little bit during these all NBA and all defensive awards. So I'm wondering to myself in a point, and I want your opinion first, and I'll tell you the teams. Is it gonna get to a point where this positionless basketball is gonna get out of hand and out of order because of how the awards would like show it? Or do you think it's just still gonna be fine?
I don't have a problem with it at all. Because I think the one thing this does is basically say, let's just find the 10 best guys or the 15 best guys in the NBA for all NBA, 10 best for all defensive team. Like I think that's really what it's about. I know a lot of people were kind of nitpicking about, oh, so and so should have been first team. So at the end of the day, your resume says all NBA. First, second, third team, in my view, doesn't really matter. It's when they write your, basketball story, it's gonna say how many times were you all NBA. It's not they're gonna say, oh, you were all NBA first team this number of times. This is the second team. This number, you're all NBA. All defensive team, same thing. So I think for me, the positionless thing is important because I think it does lead us to getting the 10 best guys for all defense and the 15 best for all NBA. The only issue I have with positionless in the NBA, in all honesty, is if you eliminate positions totally in the All-Star game. Meaning you could have no centers in the All-Star game. You could have all forwards in your front court. So that is my only concern is like, let's not completely eliminate the center position for the All-Star game. But, if you are like that, regardless of position, you're going to be in the all NBA conversation. If you're like that defensively, you're going to be in the all defensive team conversation. So I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. And when you say that, because the big man position, maybe Jokic and Embiid kind of struck a fire back into it because the big man position was getting like depleted, and a lot of people were complaining about that. When we look at these teams, though, right, and I'm gonna do the All NBA first because I think the All Defensive team really shows it. But okay, the All NBA first team, we got SGA, Luka, Giannis, Joker, Tatum. Perfect team, and you got your big, you got your forwards, and you got your guards. If you want to count Luka, Luka's like a guard forward, but you can use Tatum as the guard. But I figure like that's kind of solid and balanced. Then you go to the second team, you got Brunson as the PG, Ant-Man the 2, KD the 3 or KD the 4, Kawhi KD the 3, Kawhi the 4, AD the 5. But either way, you go switch KD and Kawhi, same thing. It's pretty solid. Then you got the third team, Halliburton, Curry, Devin Booker, LeBron James, Sabonis. And I'm like, I think all the bigs kind of got love when it comes to like the All NBA or this. But when I'm saying the defensive team, and a lot of people was looking at like this, what you created with the positionless basketball thing, because usually the most dominant people on the floor defensively are the bigs.
Right.
All defense first team was Bam, AD, Gobert, Herb Jones, Victor Wembanyama. The second team was Caruso, Drew, Jaden McDaniels, Derek White, and Jalen Suggs. And a lot of people was complaining about this, like the second team is just really all guards, and the first team is all bigs. So this would have came from the point of positionless basketball. Would it be a problem?
And again, salute Empire. For me, SB, again, first team, second team, were you all defense, were you all NBA? That's all that really matters. Which team you're on does not really matter. Because if you make all NBA first team or all NBA third team, the incentive is the same. What you get from that incentive is the same. So it's not about first, second, and third team. It's about, did you make all NBA? All defensive team, go ahead.
Do you feel like it's taken away from the composition of positions, though, since it's like you just fighting to be the 5 best players, the 5 best defenders, instead of like I'm the best defending point guard? You think that take away from that or no?
No, I mean, I don't personally, because again, because I think there are years. I don't want to say names. There are years where there are guys who made all defensive team purely on reputation. There was no metrics to back them being all defensive team. Again, I'm not gonna say names because I don't want to get into that.
No names needed. I think I know like one or two though, but no names needed.
There's a couple, and they played in this millennium. I'll just say that. You know, so at the end of the day, it's not about are you the best defensive point guard? Are you one of the best defensive players in the league? Plus, with 99% of the league switching as much as it does, it's not even about are you the best defensive point guard? It's are you one of the best defensive players? Can you guard 1 through 4? Can you switch 1 through 5 and hold your own defensively? So So at the end of the day, I've never gotten too crazy over the best defensive point guards, particularly in today's NBA. Back in the day, when you had to guard your position, I think it was a bigger deal, but not so much today.
Looking at any of the teams, did you have a problem with anybody, or was all the teams accurate to you? Is there anyone you had a problem with on either side?
I don't. So I don't want to take away from those who made it. I thought they got the all defensive team right in terms of the 10 guys.
Yes.
There were a couple guys on the All NBA team I would not have had All NBA over certain people like Jaylen Brown. Like I thought Jaylen Brown had a serious All NBA argument. I thought Tyrese Maxey had a serious All NBA argument. I thought Bam had a serious All NBA argument. I thought PG had a serious All NBA argument. But every year, there's guys that's going to get left off. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. So, and again, the thing I'm glad now is with the 65 game minimum for you to qualify, at least we can say, well, guys aren't making All NBA playing half the season.
That's true. We can definitely say that. That's true.
So that for me is, I think the one thing I like is that we at least know everybody who made All NBA played, at least 65 games or more.
Yeah, from what I'm looking at, you could maybe argue Kawhi being second, but I think the All NBA, I really don't have a problem with the All NBA. Only problem that I might have, I might would have argued the case, but I'm not mad they gave Herb Jones the first one, because I think Herb Jones and JD McDaniels are probably like the two best defenders in the league, especially on the perimeter. But I would have liked to see JD McDaniels get first team. I think I would have liked that. But it's like it's picking apples and oranges with that one, because him and Herb Jones is locked down. They do their thing.
Yeah, and again, at the end of the day, where you finish first, second team is not going to determine what you do for your team defensively.
That's true.
The recognition should be enough. You one of the 10 premier defenders in the NBA. You made All defensive team. First or second doesn't really matter.
Agree with you on that one. Let's go on to the next one, because Sean, another day and another coach is fired in the NBA. It's like musical chairs at this point. It's starting not to get shocking. Cavs dismissed head coach JB Bickerstaff after losing in the second round to the Boston Celtics. What was your reaction to this?
I mean, you knew it was a possibility. Where there's smoke, there's fire. You knew it was a possibility. The fact that he was on and still had a job for a week after them going out, I was like, okay, yeah, it looks like they're going to hang on to him. When you have made the incremental improvements that team has made, again, they were a second round team this year. They went up against the team with the number 1 overall record in the NBA in the second round. They didn't have their starting center in any of that series. They lost Donovan Mitchell 2 games in that series, and they were competitive. They were fighting. They were in it. So I was a little surprised they made the move. Part because I don't know if there's a real upgrade out there from what what he did. But also, I have to ask, what were the expectations for the Cavs this year? I thought this year the Cavs' ceiling was second round, unless they got really lucky and got a matchup that they were. But nobody before the season in their right mind had them better than Boston or Milwaukee.
It's a young team. It is. I 100% agree with you on that, because this still is a young team. One of the youngest cores. You got Garland is probably just under 25, if not at 25.
Yeah.
Mobley is 22, around that range. Jared Allen is not even 30 yet. I don't even believe Donovan Mitchell is 30 yet, if he's not just cracking to 30 yet. This is a team is young. Unless, like you said, I don't really see no other option out there. Unless you're going to go to the college and get the coach out. It's just that you got to give this team more time to grow in jail, because they did deal with a lot of injuries. And also, you need a guy who's going to run the steam, a great offense where Donovan Mitchell is just not ball hogging and isolating shots. They got to get everybody more involved. Also, I need somebody who's going to help develop Mobley. I could see Mobley being a better defensive version of a Chris Bosh. I can also see Darius Garland being something like a Steve Nash, who has the ability to pass and play. I don't want to see Darius Garland always every play sitting in the corner. I don't want to see that. I want to actually see him with the ball in his hand making plays. I want to see more pick and roll operations with Jared Allen and Garland, or Jared Allen and Mitchell, or Jared Allen and Mobley on a pick and pop. I think that's something that they can operate, and they got young legs, run up and down the floor, and I expect them to. I know they backcourt with these two small guards have been questionable defensively, but I thought the whole point of having them big anchors and those guys around them to protect them, but I don't, like you said, with all that being said, the most I expected from this Cavs team was second round. I think this year was a success for that team. I don't know what else to expect they to do. And also, who are you going to hire? Who is out there available? You see that the Suns fired Frank Vogel and hired Bud. Like, come on, bro. The Bucks let go of Adrian Grillin and hired Doc Rivers. There's not that many good coaches out here available just walking. So I don't know what their game plan is. They just said the president of operations, whatever, said they just need a new voice in the locker room. Maybe they didn't listen to Bickerstaff anymore. Maybe they went tone deaf to him. So let's see what a new voice will help them, but I doubt it. I hope that he didn't get fired because he didn't exceed expectations, because I didn't see them going nowhere past the second round. And you lost to Boston, like the number 1 seed. So I'm like, I know what they was expecting.
I mean, so there's two things for me, SB. Number one, I think you got to look at the construction of the roster, which is not talked about enough. Garland and Mitchell were always going to be a very interesting fit, whether or not it could really work. Because, again, you mentioned two small guards, but two guards who really need the ball in their hands to be as great as they can be. So that, for me, is part of it. But also, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, can they play together long term? I'm not sure they should, because I don't think Evan Mobley is necessarily, you said Chris Bosh, he's not really a stretch big. I think he can step out from time to time, but that's not consistently what he doesn't have the classic inside-outside game, and he doesn't play with that level of aggression offensively either. Because I thought he should easily be a 20 and 10 guy in his sleep.
Me too.
So that to me is what Cleveland's going to have to figure out is, what's the construction of your roster going forward past this season. And I think Garland and Evan Mobley are a good duo to build around. They seem confident they can keep Donovan Mitchell. I'm not as confident, but they seem confident they can keep Donovan Mitchell. So if you keep Donovan Mitchell, then I think that means Darius Garland should obviously probably be on the move. And if I'm the San Antonio Spurs, I'm making that call immediately to partner him with Victor Wembanyama. It would make a lot of sense. So so we'll see what happens. But again, they got the construction of the roster has to take some hit. And Kobe Altman, who, I like, for me, the biggest issue in Cleveland is beyond Kobe Altman, beyond JB Bickerstaff, is Dan Gilbert. What is he doing? And should he still be owning the team and demanding of the team as he can be without realistic expectation? That's, to me, what it comes down to. And so, should Dan Gilbert just sell the team? And
that ain't gonna happen.
It's not, but
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. So, for Cleveland fans that want to criticize JB and all that stuff, look like we've been talking about. Look at your front office. Look at your ownership. They usually are a bigger problem than you realize.
Look at this franchise. My franchise. We know what's the real problem with this, but that's a different story for another episode. Sean, have you ever been a part of a job where you're making a lot of buku bucks, but you feel like they set you up for failure at the end to be broke? Have you ever been to that? Well, Draymond Green has a lot to say. He was on the big podcast that was Shaq's podcast, where he felt that the NBA is setting them up to be broke after that. He thinks all the cover-ups of letting NBA players go through these little programs, so he thinks that's a cover-up. So I want you to listen to this clip and let me tell you what you think. Let's put us in TV mode.
Fines to me don't make sense. When you talk about as hard as we work to accumulate wealth, coming from situations that most people never make it out, and then you get fined the way we get fined, it's actually not set up for us to be wealthy after we're done playing. This job is not set up the way we're taxed.
Oh, California?
The way we're taxed, the way we're fined, and you hear about all these programs like this program, this program, that is to cover everybody. This program is to teach this guy this. But if I do something wrong, I lose $100,000. Man, it took my mom 4 years when I was growing up to make $100,000. And I lose that in the night because, what? The referee got mad at me, and he didn't like what I said to him. So I lose $5,000 like that, like on a tech.
Draymond Green had a lot to say right there, Sean. Yeah.
SB, you can go first on this one.
Oh snap. Okay. I have seen videos, and like I said, I told you it's a guy who literally only do TikToks talking about how much that players actually take home. Sometimes that $100 million contract that somebody got really only like $50 million. A lot, depending on where you're at, it can be taxed. I hear him on the taxes. 100%. Uncle Sam gonna get that money. Uncle Sam gonna get that bread for sure. But the fine point of view, I'm not rocking with Draymond on that. No, Draymond, nobody told you to kick nobody in the nuts. Nobody told you curse out the referees. I guarantee they done gave all the rundown of what these what the rules are and what you would get fined for. Now, if you want to argue that they tit for tat with certain things that they do for a certain player, that's cool. I think Draymond Green lost me a lot on it. I can't 100% rock with him on that. And for him to say the NBA is setting him up for a failure to go broke after that, because the NBA, Adam Silver didn't tell you to go buy 3 Lamb trucks and 3 Cyber trucks and buy 3-4 houses and buy everybody's stuff, because people don't talk about that part of why people go broke. I done seen a lot of stories of players saying they go broke, and they would say they banned this player this player that, this family member this was that. I would want like 10 things, 6, 7, this and that. So if Draymond Green gonna say that, also say the other side of the story too. Don't just say the NBA is doing all this stuff to fail everybody and you get fined. Nah, brother. Some of y'all got expensive lifestyles, and that ruined that too. And also y'all do stuff during that. So only thing I agree with Draymond Green says about the taxes. The taxes is kind of wild, but it just come.
My turn.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, when you listen to Draymond, he's talking out 2 sides of his mouth. Taxes is an American issue.
Mm-hmm.
all of us get hit. That's the nature of the beast.
Mm-hmm.
The more you make, the more you are likely to pay.
Uh-huh.
That's first. Separate issue. When you make so much money that your children's children should not want for anything, I don't want to hear nothing about the money you get taken away.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly if you are the reason why the money gets taken away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear it. If you don't want to get fined $100,000, say what you got to say to the refs and shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go after them. Don't keep going on and on and on and on. And don't do this all the time.
He does it all the time.
Draymond is a habitual line stepper.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the dude. Draymond's a dude that will step across the line, and then as soon as somebody pushes back, it's like, well, what did I do? What did I say?
That is true.
If that's how you want to play it, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get upset when the league comes down on you.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. Second, every rookie goes through rookie symposium. Part of rookie symposium is they have people come in and talk about financial literacy, taking care of your money, understanding how your money works. There are those who smartly set themselves up to make sure that the money they make will last them for a lifetime. I'll give you an example. Klay Thompson, whose dad, Michael Thompson, played in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Klay Thompson's dad, when he was on his rookie deal, put him on a budget, said $300 a week.
Mm.
You get money for food, for per diem,
Mm.
travel, all that stuff. So why are you taking out all this money to go shopping and spending and all that stuff? Take care of your money, right? It was one of the best things that happened for Klay Thompson. Everybody doesn't have that level of discipline, though. You get it. The first time you get a big check, a lot of people, their first thing is, I've never seen this much money in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Even Shaq talked about when he first got his first big check, and
he blew it.
Yeah, he blew it, and like his accountant calls him and is like, "Hey man, you ain't got no money."
Mm-hmm.
So it's that thing of, do you have the discipline to take care of what you have? And if you don't, do you have the discipline to surround yourself with people who will say, no, I know it's your money, but you can't spend this. You don't need this. Like you said, you don't need 3 Lambo trucks.
You don't.
Why you got 42 cars? You ain't got 42 butts to put them in.
No, you do not.
So why are you buying all these cars? Depreciating assets, by the way, because the moment you drive it off the lot, the value of that vehicle goes down. So I don't want to hear about that piece. But the other part is, and this is the last thing for me, SB, less than 1% of the population will make the money that Draymond Green has made in his NBA career. Less than 1%. The lack of self and situational awareness that he showed in that clip is very telling. Don't nobody want to hear that.
No. Not when you're making millions.
Yeah, you literally got people getting laid off every day. You literally got a network that just lost their NBA rights.
Which we're talking about next.
Yes, which is going to cost 200 plus people their job easily. So nobody wants to hear about, oh, I paid too much in taxes. Oh, get you some better financial people around you. Your money should be working for you, that you're not even worrying about that. You think Magic Johnson made $800 million playing in the NBA? No. He turned his wealth, he turned his celebrity into generational money. He invested. He got into business. So I don't want to hear about your complaints about money. And if you don't like paying $100,000 fines, stop being a dumbass.
Can't argue with that. And that's the only one where I was confused on with about like the fine point, like because every fine that Draymond got, he kind of put himself in a line of fire. Like every single one that was him. Like the tax, like I said, the taxes thing. I'm not mad. Everybody complain about paying taxes, but like you said, this is America. Everybody do. We all pay taxes. Do we all want to pay them? Heck, to the now, but it is what it is. And then the more you make, the more they, like you said, the more they take. But if you're going to say that, also bring on the fact of that the double-edged sword of talk about how a lot of players don't take care of their money. Shaq was a perfect example. Luckily that Shaq put himself in different business situations now after his career where Shaq is well off. Talk about what players do after it, because some players go through their whole career, be fine. Once they get done with their career, they so bored and was used to playing basketball every day. Now they spending all their money because they don't have nothing else to do. Then they go broke like that too. Why you talk about that? How players lead the league with money, but they got used to getting that check every month or every whatever how they must go. Then they stopped getting it. They didn't know what to do. Why he bring up that? So that's what like I 100% agree with the point you're saying that like Draymond Green, like lack of accountability one, and a lack of just common knowledge to like just to be just illiterate to the fact of what he was doing. So that's what it is. And then this will go double back onto the point of Pat McAfee was talking about it too on his show. About how Charles Barkley, obviously the TNT show is going to be over because TNT lost the rights to the NBA deal because I believe it's going to Amazon. But Pat McAfee did a quick little run through about what we're going to talk about right now.
Charles Barkley was on Dan Patrick this morning, and he said that morale is terrible. And he also called out leadership at TNT, saying, I don't know how the hell we got to this point. Charles Barkley also said to Dan Patrick that he's approached the guys on the show to maybe take that show underneath his production company so that then they can go license that or sell that somewhere. That is the move, boys. And I understand it stinks for TNT.
And now, okay, so the big point of the story is that Barkley wants to sign the show inside the NBA under the umbrella of his own company. Obviously, we're in this new era where we all make podcasts, make our own network, and obviously, if you got something with like inside the NBA, which everybody can crack certain jokes about, like if Shaq and these guys really watch the game, do they know what they talk about? But the show is entertaining. It's HELL. I think inside the NBA is needed as the show that we need in the basketball community. I enjoy watching Inside the NBA because that's one of the shows where you could say what you really want to say, but the show is very entertaining, and you could tell that the guys are being themselves. We're not coming on the show finna say anything to push a narrative. We're not finna come on the show and start something like this. If they said something, even if players didn't like it or nobody liked it, that's how we knew Chuck really felt that way. Yeah, I guarantee Chuck really feel that way about the women in San Antonio. He think they all big. I can guarantee you that he thinks that. But where he said morale was down, Sean, he was talking about the workers, like we just talked about Draymond Green, right? How he was complaining about that fan. But now this is a whole studio of workers that have been working with these guys for years. And Chuck even said some of these kids was like scholarship people from high school to college and stayed there, end up getting a job there. Some getting to the point was where they thought they was going to get a job there, like full time. And now they're gone. You don't think people thinking that way, Draymond? Like, wait, I'm not going to have a job at all. You worry about getting fined $100,000. I'm worried about if I'm going to get $1 enough to feed my family in general. So what is your mindset of the TNT show getting canceled? Would it be a good idea for Chuck to sign the show on his production company to keep it going? And is the show needed? Do you think the show is needed inside the NBA?
I think people won't miss it until it's gone. Because the fact is, it's the number one studio show in sports.
Yes.
it's what a lot of studio shows, regardless of the sport you cover, are trying to get to. This is what they do. They are trying to get to that level. They just won yet another Emmy.
Yes, they did.
Right. They are what everybody's trying to get to. So let's get that straight right now. The Turner and Warner Brothers or Warner Media losing the NBA rights sucks for many reasons, because there are a lot of people who, they work at Turner under Warner Media, specifically under the NBA package, right? The number of cameramen, the technical folks, producers, all the people only see what's in front of the camera often. That's a minority. Like the people behind the camera, the everyday working person, that will essentially be out of work if this goes away. Now, specific to your question about inside the NBA, I think it would be an absolute great idea for Barkley to sign Kenny, Charles, and Shaq, EJ and Shaq, excuse me, under his production company, and them continue to produce inside the NBA and put it out. And maybe it's not in the same exact way. Maybe it's not a pre and post game show. Maybe it goes into the same format of inside the NFL, which again does once a week. They cover the games from the week before, and they may preview some games coming up the next week. Maybe it's that format. I don't know what that will look like, but I think it makes absolute sense, because again, it is a great show, and again, it is the standard that a lot of shows, sports media shows, are trying to get to, and also it's got to be distributed on the right platform. Is that Amazon? Is that Showtime? Is that some sort of streaming service? That remains to be seen. So we'll see. But whatever they do, wherever they are, what they can't afford to lose is authenticity.
Yes. I don't want nothing to change.
Yeah, because that's what makes the show. They are authentically being themselves. And Ernie is the heartbeat. Ernie's the key. He's the driver. He's the one that when they go left, he's able to get them back, but still allows them to do their thing.
But two things too, because something that the TNT bosses said, but I want, because you made me think of something with that point. Because Ernie has been the OG TNT guy. What if they try to all right, we're gonna put it on Prime? Do you think that Ernie will leave? I think Ernie might just retire. If it ain't just under one of these guys' umbrella, I think Ernie might just call it one.
Well, I think it depends, because the reason why Ernie doesn't want to leave Turner, it was multiple reasons, but primarily Ernie's an Atlanta guy. He's been in Atlanta for forever.
A long time, yeah.
And obviously Turner, the studios are in Atlanta. So if the studios stay in Atlanta, and they can film or do whatever they're going to do with the show in Atlanta, I think he would still be a part of it, because I think he still genuinely enjoys doing it. And he could do it even if it's not on Turner and still stay with Turner, because, he does baseball for Turner. They do March Madness on Turner as well. So he could do both, but it would just be a matter of, if that's something he wants to do. I think he genuinely still enjoys doing it.
Yeah,
I think he could have retired a long time ago, but I think he genuinely still enjoys doing it. It's just, where would it be, and can he stay in Atlanta and do it and still have that comfort level?
Yeah, Ernie. Shout out Ernie. Ernie to go. But when Chuck said the morale was low and he was pissed off, the TNT bosses, in which they let, and he felt like he was pissed off with them about, because they let the slip out of their hands. They said they don't need the NBA. And I feel like business-wise, that is something very wrong to say, and something wrong to do in the mindset, because if you got the best sports show, Emmy-winning show, you're not going to say we don't need that sport that's one of your best shows on your network. Because if I ask anybody else, on a regular, name me another show on a TNT. I'm talking the average person, not somebody who like locked in with everything. They couldn't tell me. Everybody know what inside the NBA is. So I feel like for them, I think it's not going to hit them now. When that show is gone, it's going to hit that big boss when that pocket change don't look the same and the money he made off inside the NBA don't hit, because I feel like for you to say we don't need the NBA is crazy to me. Do you agree with that?
So I think it's two things. One, Turner just signed up to do college football, broadcast college football.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the reason why they're saying they don't need the NBA. They don't need the NBA rights because they are going to do college football. They're going to do college football playoff games. Like they are because they used to do college football back in the day. They're going back into that world. So that's the first thing. But Warner Media is really the ones who are making these decisions, because when Turner merged with Warner Media, they're the big dog, right?
Yeah.
And again, they are making what they consider to be a calculated financial decision. They have a set where they think they should be paying for the media rights to be the B team, to be the B partner, because ESPN, ABC, Disney is the A partner. That they believe is where they're going to set, and they weren't going to go higher than what NBC, could offer. And as far as they're concerned, it's not worth them continuing to offer that. At the end of the day, SB, this always comes down to one of the two things in America. There's always the answer to the question. It's usually because of slavery or because of money. This is because of money. So, so at the end of the day, this is because of money. And and that's what it always comes down to. The NBA is going to make over $7 billion with this new media rights deal. Great portion of that money is going to funnel to the players. So you're going to see the max contracts go up, to the tune of $80-85 million a season.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's the market.
Ridiculous money.
Yeah, but that's the market, and that's part of the new CBA, and why the new CBA, basically guarantees the players a large percentage of basketball related basketball related income. And again, this was the expectation. So and also too, I mean, you got to think about it too, right? Like if you were where cable is going away, if you were going away from cable, if you were a cable network, how do you stay relevant in a society that's going away from cable, where everything is going to streaming? And can you make sure that you are on the right streaming platforms to continue to put your product out, so you can charge advertisers, what you charge them for, commercials and things, because that's a big part of it as well. So because the advertising dollars are what often funds these networks, in addition to the broadcast rights for their networks being on certain platforms. So it's a big money business, but at the end of the day, does Turner need the NBA? I don't know if they need the NBA, but it sure helps having it.
Yeah. I'm thinking more for the show purpose. I think they need inside the NBA, but I don't know. You know what I need sometimes, Sean? I want to feel the fact of not being robbed. So it was at a point in time where my Chicago Bulls were the number. It might have been a fraudulent number one seed because we didn't really beat no top teams, but we was number one. We looked good. We had a point guard. Point guard gets hurt. And when this point guard got hurt, it was like 2-3 years ago at this point now. At this point, it was so long ago. I don't know how long ago it was. Was it about 4 years ago? I just know he accepted his player option. So he accepted his option, and he still ain't played yet, right? I feel like I've been robbed, Sean. And the reason why I feel like I've been robbed, because he finally came out now at the end of the contract where he feel like he's healthy enough to play, to fully say what the problem was. all that. Remember he made the video with Steve, they say he might be done, retire, and he get this somebody lying doing all that hopping up. Every other so much come up, tricking us, say he coming back. Man, look, Lonzo put the whole ski mask on, and we got robbed. So I was robbed. But this is Lonzo explaining what has been going on. Finally, he comes clean.
To make a long story short, ultimately, it started with a meniscus tear. Basically started on the Lakers when I toured the first time. Toured a couple more times to a point to where there was no more meniscus left and bone on bone was rubbing. So the cartilage was gone and the bone was messed up. So I had to get new meniscus from a donor. I had to get a bone allograft, and I had to get some new cartilage put in as well. All that, healed up, and now I'm back on the court now.
Okay, what a blessing.
Really was about 14, 15 months in now. So the stuff before that, we were trying to figure out what the problem was. So that was a wasted year. But now we're here.
So wait. So first of all, I like how he tried to play it at the end, all the stuff. The years before that, when I was just saying, no, I just didn't know what was gone. I didn't know what's been wrong.
Right.
You capping. The first statement you said out your mouth was, it started from the Lakers, and it's been my meniscus, and I've torn my meniscus a couple times. So you hurt that same goddamn knee again, and your stuff bone on bone. You don't think it's your meniscus again, so the whole time we just don't know what's wrong with my knee. Oh, maybe because he ain't got no meniscus there. It's nothing there. So what's the point of waiting this long to say like, hey, look, meniscus gone. He got the donor now. He could have been. Sean, my problem is he could have just been said this. This is what the problem was. All this we really didn't know. And you literally said you knew from the first statement that you said. I feel robbed, Sean.
So I feel Lonzo's pain. I'll tell you why. Because I've had 2 meniscus surgeries on both knees. I had a lateral meniscus surgery when I tore my ACL and tore my left knee, just to get into that. And then I tore, that was in 2000. And then I tore my medial meniscus in my right knee, which is different than your lateral meniscus, of course. So when I tore the one in 2000, what they basically said was, listen, there's nothing we can do. We just go in, we take out the remainder of your meniscus. You're going to have cartilage on cartilage basically for the rest of your life. And we recommend you not hoop anymore. I'm not going to tell you what I said because I don't want to use that kind of language on this platform. But that was not an option for me as far as I was concerned. That said, the fact that now you can do a meniscus transplant, you can replace what was essentially taken out. And with cartilage, a lot of times it's what they're trying to do with the grafts is they're trying to get the cartilage to regenerate. So if they're able to do that, which I'm assuming that's what he was basically inferring, then he will be able to, likely return to the court at some point. I know you feel robbed as a Bulls fan because, you saw glimpses of what it could be when Lonzo was out there. But obviously he hadn't played in forever.
I think Allen Iverson was still in the league last time he played, man.
Yeah, quite possible. Yeah, quite possible.
Steph Curry was still winning championships.
So I feel your pain, but it is. And I'm just speaking again as someone who's been through those procedures outside. I don't have a meniscus transplant. It is not easy. It is very, very difficult to deal with that and to manage that. So hopefully he comes back, and his main thing is, again, get back on the court. And it's not even just the knees; it's getting over the psychological part of it. Can you make the cuts that you used to make? Can you start and stop like you used to? Can you jump without thinking about your knee? Can you run without thinking about your knee? So I think it's we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, am I being wrong and disingenuous and being mad about it? I just only mad that he just didn't say that my meniscus is gone. That's the real problem. He just been on this tear about I really don't know what's the problem. your meniscus gone, bro, just say that. You got us thinking like, man, this man got a mystery knee. Then he got a like what I was thinking of the Cat Williams comedian thing where he's about Jamie Foxx got a mystery virus. So you just got a mystery knee injury. No, fool, your meniscus gone. You know what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, look, that's why I feel robbed. That's it.
No, I
He
get it.
schemed us. He just schemed us. I mean, Reinsdorf ain't losing no sleep. So, you know, he probably deserved to get schemed out a couple millions, how he been scheming us on fan base. So I guess this retribution, but I don't like it. But I do feel for Lonzo because of the injuries do suck. I get that point. But, like, come on, bro. You could have just been straight up. Like, I feel like now he want to come clean because now he figured that he can play now. He maybe got the Lacan's back, and then he on the end of his contract. So it's like, what if he sit out this year too? I don't really feel I'm ready, and then he just gone back in free agency.
I'd be surprised if he didn't play this year.
I think he had to. He ain't gonna get no contract. Yeah, so I don't know. Obviously, too, Sean, a lot has been said about Bronny James. About him playing his first round pick, second round pick, but clearly second round pick, most likely. Everybody hyping up the pro days. You know, we talk about how Perk got mad. But me and you both would think he late second round pick, get the two-way contract, and you know, play with the G League, come up, play with the team, some games like that. Rich Paul has just came out and said Bronny will not sign a two-way contract, and teams know that, and I'm not doing that. How are you feeling about? Do you think this is a bad idea? Because I got a theory of why I think they did this, but what you think?
I think what Rich Paul was doing is basically telling teams, if that was your plan, if you were thinking about drafting Bronny and that's your plan, that's not going to work. So what Rich Paul is really trying to do is ultimately get Bronny where they want Bronny to go. So that's why they're doing that, and that's the only reason why they're doing that. Ultimately, it's about, you know, what destination are they trying to get Bronny to, whether in a draft or in free agency, undrafted free agency. So that's all I took it as, and that's it. You know,
they say great minds think alike. It is 100% a ploy to get Bronny where they want to go. If you are looking, if you just listening, it's good. They try to get him to the Lakers. We don't have to play that role and try to not call a spade a spade. We know what it is, because a lot of teams who take a player in the second round has always been two-way contracts. No, it's rare in this day and era where a late second round pick is not, or even as just a second round pick, it's not a two-way contract player. It's like rare, or it's rare on occasions. Even Amani Bates, who was great. I think he was second or late first two-way contract.
He's second round pick.
Two-way contract. And this dude who's projected to be a number one pick before a lot of other stuff happened outside the court. But yeah, that's it. My theory is that it's 100% ploy to get Bronny where he wanted to go, and that's to possibly not get drafted and just go to the Lakers, or the Lakers take him, or the Lakers just take him and draft him in the second round. That's all this is. And if you any other teams, if you thought about drafting Bronny, hearing that, would they make you not want to draft him or no?
I mean, I don't think that in itself will make you take Bronny off your draft board if you're going to have him off your draft board. I just think what it'll do is basically say, hey, listen, you know, you draft the player. It's not so much, you know, just having them. It's also having their draft rights, which is a big part of it. Do you have that player's draft rights? You know, and how long will you have that player's draft rights? So, you know, I don't think this will dissuade teams if they're going to have Bronny on their board anyway. I don't think it's going to say, oh, we're not, you know, we're taking Bronny off our board because of this. Either they're going to have Bronny on their board or they weren't.
Or they don't. Yeah, and looking at the Bronny situation, the part of the problem that people was having too, Sean, was that they said they felt like this the most demands they see from a second round pick ever. Like, are you getting that from this situation that's going on with Bronny or not?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, SB. Some of it is, just the name. I think that might be overstating it a little bit. At the end of the day, his agent is one of the biggest agents in basketball. We know who his father is. We know what he comes with in terms of, his own celebrity and following and things like that. I just think it's more that than him being overly demanding. Ultimately, if his goal, his dream is to play in the NBA, he will, try to find a way to do so wherever that is and under whatever circumstances he's got to do it. But my big thing again is this in itself is just a ploy to try to get him where they want, right? I just tell you this real quick. 2015 NFL draft, there was a guy from LSU, Lyle Collins. Lyle Collins was projected to be a first-round pick. A report came out about a situation during the first round of the draft, and it basically knocked him out of the first round. Well, his agent basically told teams, if you're not taking him in the first round, don't take him at all. Well, nobody took him. Well, he did that because he wanted to go to the Dallas Cowboys, and the Dallas Cowboys ultimately signed him. So this isn't uncommon. Now, again, an agent can tell a team, "Hey, don't take my guy." If a team wants to take a guy, they'll take him. It's just as simple as that.
Like Reggie Bush with the Saints.
Yeah. So, you can try to push and dictate as much as you want. If a team says, "Hey, we're drafting you," if you're on the board, we're drafting you. Isaiah Thomas didn't want to go to the Pistons. Isaiah Thomas wanted to go to the Bulls. Where did he go? He went to the Pistons. So,
And it happened like that. Last story of the day. The NCAA conference agrees to pay a $2.8 billion settlement. The NCAA and the nation's 5 biggest conferences announced Thursday night that they have agreed to pay nearly $2.8 billion to settle a host of antitrust claims and monumental decisions that settles the stage for groundbreaking revenue sharing model that could could start directing millions of dollars direct to athletes as soon as the start of 2025 fall semester. So, long story, and then all of the 5 conferences, I got the article up too. The 5 conferences is Atlantic Coast, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, and Southeastern Conference.
The Power 5.
So, the Power 5 pretty much, yeah. But so this part 1. This part 1 is pretty much saying they're going to open up so colleges can actually just pay the players themselves instead of just going to NIL, instead of going to Raising Cane's and get the NIL for the players. So now the college can actually give the player the money.
Yes.
But also in the deal, they were talking about giving retributions to like players from 10 years prior.
Right.
And when I heard that part, I was like, that opened up a whole batch of different doors. Because I got a guy that I'm cool with, man, Calvin Brock, used to play for U of I, but it was like early 2000s, like during the Darren Williams time, Luke Headham time. And I asked him how he felt about it. He was like, man, I figured like they should give us our retribution too, because we was back in the day, we were playing and wasn't getting paid, and we making all this money off us. And then back during that time, people were so wicked with it, they'll put your name on the back end stuff and be selling it right in front of the arena. And they was making money out there. So do you think this is going to open up Pandora's box for the players that played back in the day who have probably lost awards, lost scholarships, lost out on money that they should get paid too? Should they go back further than 10 years, or do you think this is a good thing, what they're doing with that part? And then how you feel about the settlement of the schools playing everybody else too?
I mean, I think they should go back as far as they can. But again, you're talking about more money. And the NCAA already didn't want to pay the current guys. So how far back do they really want to go?
I think they bid 2 for nails to do 10. I ain't gonna hold you.
And remember, this goes all the way back, really to the mid 90s with the O'Bannon twins. They were the ones who really kind of started this fight. One of the O'Bannon twins, I believe it was Ed O'Bannon, started this fight. So, you go back as far as you can and you pay those who, need to be paid. Now, that said, there are some guys who some athletes who went on and did very well for themselves in their careers. They probably aren't tripping about a $5,000 check or whatever. But then there's some, who could. So, I do believe, again, if a school profited from having a player and players, and those players were unable to be compensated at that time, they should be compensated. What that structure looks like, I can't say, but they should be compensated. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. To your second point or question, SB, you asked about, does this open Pandora's box? Are you saying in terms of schools spending way too much money to get players, or what do you?
No, I was talking about the Pandora's box of like other players playing, but for the other side, I was saying that like, how schools gonna pretty much pay players, or like how they go about recruiting, because now it's like, if they gonna double with the NIL money and plus they money to get players, like what you think? Like, because I feel like this is gonna be like a crazy sign, because there also is it gonna be contracts like, okay, you get this, you got to be here 2-3 years, you can't go into the transfer. But that's what I'm saying. Like, what is this gonna open up a whole new world for?
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're talking about paying them as if they are professionals, then there's contracts involved. There's got to be, I believe, unions involved, like college athletic unions involved. So I think this is still very much an evolving thing, but I do expect it at some point to get to that place where, these college athletes are in a union, and, if they are in the union, they're paying union dues, things like that, just like, professional athletes do. But also, again, the big thing is, and I think the biggest thing with NIL is, there shouldn't be any limit on these guys earning power. So even the school can only pay them a certain cap to what they can pay them. If Caleb Williams wants to go out and make $15 million a year in endorsements while he's at USC, he should be able to do that without any interference. And so that, to me, is the biggest thing, is how that continues to evolve and grow.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I'm happy that the kids are getting paid now, and also double down, triple down on that. Like, hey, look, if you can let these kids get as much money as they can, let it happen. Because as much money they trust me, the schools are making quadruple that money. Whatever that money you think they get, the schools making quadruple the money. I know Colorado, who's been on a draft streak recently, probably made the most money with Coach Pram, Travis Hunter, and Shador and the Sanders family being there than they did in the last couple of years. And I guarantee you, no matter what Prime and them saying, Colorado done made way more money than they made off their name alone. And it comes with that. Same thing with USC with Caleb Williams. When he had his thing, it was up. So that's what I'm happy to see it, though, for a student athlete. So look, man, you don't got to go pro all the way. Just be a D1. Hey, look, be a D1 college athlete. Get a little popularity on social media. You get that bag. You will get that bag. Episode 77, Sean. Who you got? I got the guy who's playing right now as we speak. Let me look at the score right now. The score into the game.
Minnesota's up by 12 right now.
Yeah, 40-28 right now, Minnesota. I'm picking Mr. Luka Doncic for number 77.
Yeah, I got Luka as well, but I'm going to throw another one in there. Willie Roaf, one of the best left tackles ever. New Orleans Saints, Kansas City Chiefs, Hall of Famer. So Willie Roaf is the other one I would throw in there.
That is a good pick, man. We appreciate you guys watching the show. We live every Monday and Friday. It's SB, Sean Webb, Real Take So Fake Debates, and see you guys on Monday. Peace.
Rucker Man.